Hello everyone, I'm Samsu from DINSTAR. Thank you for coming on our training today. And I will demonstrate how the SBC will connect to the IPBS and SC phones and demonstrate a lot of the user case for the SBC. And here's our topic today. The first one I will introduce about the key things or key terms, like definition of the SBC, and second one I will give you some reasons why we use SBC, and I will share some documentation or recommendation from RFC how to use the SBC for the different user case. Okay. I will also give you the brief introduction or brief explanation for our DINSTAR SBC. And fifth, I will cover share some story about the success story about our customer using our SBC. And I will tell you how to use the SBC for different scenario or user case. Okay. And then step 7, I will give you the full configuration files, how to configure SBC setup and make demos. And lastly, I will give you some demos. Okay. Before I start, I think if you got any questions, because since today we'll cover a lot of topics, and if you get any questions, any problem, please leave the message in the message box. Our technical guy will give you the answer or maybe give you the email back. Okay, let's start now. So I will say that first of all, I will say that what's a SBC. SBC actually is the 3 terms combined together. Okay. The first term is a session, another one is a border, third one is a controller. So session here refers to the communication between the 2 or more parties here. I think the very direct way to explain or understand that is we consider as the, for example, SIP signaling. And SIP, if you want to set up the call or make an invite or make a call, okay, you have to set up the session first. Okay. You have to set up session, and there are a lot of sessions, of course, involved. It depends some situation. For example, if you got like a peer-to-peer call and maybe 2 sessions, if you got maybe more, for example, like conference call, other calls, you involve more sessions. Okay, so it's a session. You have to maybe set up the session, maybe tear down the session and hang up line and so on. The border here is referred to a point to democracy between the one party of the network and the other one, something like something, so border in between. So you separate different networks, different network elements. Okay. Controller here means control the influence the session, maybe and handle the data stream that comprise the sessions. Okay, for example, voice, RTP, signaling, and so on. So here, I think you have to know that I think it's a must. SBC is B2B EUA. Okay, it's very basic, very fundamental concept here. And if SBC is not B2B EUA, then SBC will not be able to control the signaling, control the RTP, control the voice, control the session. Okay, because sometimes I think most of the time you face, for example, you make a call, you want to get the billings, you want to get CDRs, you want to get the call recordings, and so on. So if SBC is not B2B EUA, then you will not able to do that. Okay, so must be the B2B EUA. You have to understand that. Okay. Here's a diagram from the wiki, and in this diagram we can see that SBC architecture here. If you get SBC, normally got the one is for LAN port, another one is a WAN port. Okay, and the signaling from the outside through the SBC and go to the internal network. And maybe if you set up the RTP, then RTP flow will go through the internal alternate network through the SBC. Okay, so SBC control the signaling and the media here. of course, control the security, all stuffs here. Okay. We are not only talk about the technical things. We also give you some reasons why you use SBC. In the business terms, if you, for example, if you are the distributor or SIP integrator or some network integrators, you have to consider the SIP network, because nowadays the SIP network is very normal already and very popular in the many countries. Of course, here we can see the report from the register.com. Here, report for SBC market share. If you see it, I think the North American is a big market in nowadays, because the SIP network is very popular now and very common use anywhere. And the second one, of course, is Europe, and third one is like Asia Pacific, and the third and so on. So it's an opportunity here. If you are our customer, our distributors, or our partners, we can work together and get the business. Okay. So please consider that. Okay. After that, I will give you some introduction about the key features of the functions of the SBC. Nowadays, the SBC now mainly implement in the SIP network already, and with the SIP network, you have to use maybe the SIP phone registered to your network, and maybe SIP-based IoT device, maybe smart edge device. Maybe you also face the WebRTC include integration to all the issues. So the SBC will be considered as the first priority. Okay, the top solution for the integration. You have to integrate all the stuff together by SBC. Okay, the first thing is of course the topology hiding. Topology hiding means like, for example, if maybe if you view at maybe from the outer public network, you will see it only SBC. You cannot see the internal, PBX, internal network, and so on. So when the SBC will hide your internal network, or PBX, or call center, and so on. And second one is the media traffic management. If you want to control your media or traffics, you have to use SBC. So it's a second feature for the functions for media traffic management. Sometimes you need the load balancing, you need maybe the call recording, you need some modifications, so you can do that. Okay, and fix the capability mismatch. Of course, sometimes if the different codecs, different protocol want to make call each other, you have to use SBC to do the problem solving. Okay, so you have to fix the problem by using SBC, modify some parameter and so on to make sure that the call will be flow. And you have to use the SBC to maintain the SIP related to the net bindings. Since if you, for example, if you register our SIP phone from outside the network, you have to map your SIP network with the internal network and the port and the signal links, and make sure your session is always keep the leaf. Okay, if you don't have SBC, then maybe due to some reasons your session is over, your time is over, then the life cycle done already, then your SIP connection will disconnect it. So you have to use the SBC to keep the connection or maintain the status. Okay, and of course if you use the SBC, you can work with access control features, and SBC can be at maybe the blacklist or whitelist, put mechanism to control certain users can allow the certain user access our network, and sometimes you have to block the certain users, maybe due to some security reason or some risks there. Of course, you can use that for the protocol repair, and nowadays a lot of the protocol still there. And if you not use, for example, SIP network, other side maybe use the PSTN or maybe use H323, and you have to repair or convert the signaling. So it can be done from SBC. Of course, SBC nowadays can equip lot of PSTN network already. So can be used for protocol repair. Of course, the other one is the media encryption. Nowadays, the anywhere can be done by the media encryption. So if you want to your RTP or media encrypt, you have to use SBC to encrypt your RTP. Okay. Here we can see that we share some report from securityfair.call. I think that this is some security issues released from the network. There are a lot of the security reason why because the SIP network or VoIP network security problem. If you are interested, you can access the website to see more. Of course, there are more than that. Okay. Here now, since we are in the hybrid network already, and we not only use the SIP network, we also maybe in some network maybe use the PSTN, and sometimes I think that during the COVID-19, a lot of staff from different country or different place work together or maybe work at home. So you have to let your team member register to your SIP servers or SIP PBX. So you have to let the SBC work as maybe the security firewall and control the security management. So security here is first concern or top priority in the enterprise network. Okay. So some situation you still have to face. Okay, here I just list off a few situation you face, or maybe more than that. Okay, and sometimes if you don't have for example SBC, you have to maybe export to your IPBS to public network and let the remote user to register it. Okay, and of course, if you got the team member, work at home or remote from other branch office, other locations, you have to let the device register to your SIP server. So you have to use SBC as a security mechanism. Okay, and since then a lot of the SIP device and point we in our network or in your PBX registration. Okay, so if you want to make calls each others, you have to make sure your codecs is can be matched. Okay, otherwise your different codecs cannot call each others. You have to maybe do the transcoding and so on. Of course, if you use the SBC, you have to use the SIP trunk as well. And sometimes, due to the bandwidth limitation, lot of the service provider, support, for example, the codecs G729, and maybe your remote side, your local IPBS, maybe only support, for example, G711. So you have to make transcoding, use SBC. Okay. Last slide, I show you why you use the SBC. Give some situation, but here we got the some reasons. I give you reasons why you use SBC, but here is more like specific, more particular in terms of the some application scenario. Okay, of course the first one is topology hiding. I mentioned before. And second one, you have to transcode. You have to transcoding. Do the codecs transcoding with different codecs. Okay, and if you use SBC, you can use maybe trunk connection with SBC, and then point to point connection with SBC. Nowadays, the Zoom or Microsoft Teams also very popular now, and I think the SBC is a must for Teams and Zoom phone system. So you have to use the Zoom or use SBC connect to your Zooms or Teams. Okay, sometimes I think the most of the time now, very common already. You got the remote end user, remote endpoint. You have to register your device to the server. You have to use SBC. Okay, of course, security reason is one of the reason I mentioned before. And new things, or not new, but still I think very popular already. And some other applications, other scenario, you have to use SBC as maybe gateway, maybe as middleware to do that. Okay, sometimes like you may face the WebRTC integration. You want maybe a WebRTC to SIP or SIP to WebRTC. So you have to use maybe SBC as a gateway to do the conversation. Okay. And nowadays, I think in the last year, especially in the US, start using the stair shaking for the robocall blocking. Here is FCC policy already, so you have to do that by using the stair shaking mechanism to do the robocall blocking. Okay. Of course, I think the stair shaking is technology new, but not very new. I think a lot of the US, I think in US market, you have to use this technology to do the to track the robocall or blacklist or label identification and indicate to the all the call paths. And not only the SBC, you have to support their chicken and your IPBS also need to do that. Okay. And other things like big data, if you use some the big data or some cloud applications, maybe you have to use the call record to do that, or maybe and if you want to use the AI solutions, you have to integrate and use the voice recording to analyze your analyze the person, the characters, and so on. So it's quite common, quite popular for the ASR AI solutions. Just now I talk about the few theories. Here actually we have some very official documents for the SBC usage. Okay, here you can refer this link URL RFC, and in this RFC there are a lot of detail about the SBC usage and theory and how to use SBC and how the SBC works and the key features as I mentioned before. Here basically there are two connection type here. One is peer scenario, another one is access scenario. And peer scenario here may involve the two network operator exchange the traffic with each other. So like operator 1 to operator 2, or maybe service provider 1 connect to service provider 2 by the SBC connection. Okay, it's quite normal and used for service provider or some SIP trunk provider. Okay. And other one is, for example, access scenario. Sometimes if you outside the people or users want to access your internal networks or proxy, you have to use SBC and put in between, and your UA will register to SBC proxy here. Here we got the, for example, like PBX gateway or call center. So here is hide your PBX. Okay, so it's very clear and easy to implement. Of course, there in the some I think in the some scenario or some situations, and SBC is not only like used directly in the peer or access scenario. In particular, there are a lot of user case or a lot of the scenario can be done by SBC connection. Okay. Just now I introduced some background of the SBC and the benefits of SBC and some risks you face. You may use SBC and definitions and so on. So before I continue, any questions? If you got any question, please leave a message, and in the message box, our staff or technical guy will give you the answer. Okay. Okay, here we got the new things. I will give you the brief introduction for our software SBC. This is SBC 8000 here, and this is where our DINSTAR milestone is new software solution for the SBC. Here there's some data here. Our SBC, I think, maximum can support 10,000 SIP sessions and it can do the 5,000 transcoding sessions. Of course, we can support IPv6 and PB4 and SRTP, TLS, WebRTC integration, and HA active standby solutions. Okay. Actually, since it is a software-based solution, there are a lot of the platform we can support. Here, I think mainly support like CentOS, Ubuntu, Debian, Huawei, Killing System, or maybe Rocky Linux. Here, we still on the testing, okay, because the CentOS, I think, will no longer to maintain by the hoster, okay. So maybe Rehan got some plan, we don't know, but they're not very clear yet. So I think the Rocky Linux as a backup, okay. Of course, you still can choose Ubuntu, Debian, and other SUSE and so on. A lot of the OS, open source OS already. And we also support the physical servers. If you got any third party like IBM or Dell physical servers, you still can purchase your physical server and install our software solution. Okay. And we also support the VMS and AWS, Google, Huawei Cloud, Alibaba Cloud, and so on. You can implement in the cloud-based solution for the transcoding, for SIP trunk, and so. Here is our GUI for SBC. Okay. And I just list out the key features for SBC 8000 here. Basically, I just mentioned the call control and the security protection. Of course, there are more than that. Okay, and call control, there are a lot of features can do that. Of course, support a lot of mechanism. I think the very interesting feature is load balancing, and we offer the load balancing for the IPBX. For example, if you use the different SIP trunks want to route into different PBS or maybe different SIP servers, you can do that for load balancing. Okay. Here also got the support very flexible routing edge, and then you can routing based the caller ID prefix and based some time profile on the regular express and CPR and method. And for example, if you is invite or have and so on, or notification and so on, so can do that, and also can manipulate your caller or calling ID number here. Of course, SBC as a security mechanism, so have to lot of policy you have to support. And our SBC also support like build in the internal VIP firewall and then DDoS attraction to detect the DDoS attacks. Okay, we support the standard protocol, SIP protocol, and very compatible with the IMS network. Nowadays, I think a lot of countries still use the PSTN or SIP, or some countries use IMS. Okay, like China, use IMS a lot, so we can support IMS and with more I think parameter here, and we can set up the bandwidth limitation to control that, and set the dynamic blacklist. Of course, we also support net transversal text environments. I think it's quite complex issue if you talk about the net transversal. So we do that in different scenario and support many parameters to configure it. Okay. Of course, we support the SIP over TLS and SRTP. Just now I talked about the software solution. Here, actually, we got a lot of the success story for customers who are using our SBC here, and here some customer from overseas. some customer from China. Okay, there's some big giant like Tencent. I think everyone should know that, WeChat or QQ and so on. And Jingdong, I think is a very big one for online shopping. Okay, and the logistic company is in China. I think the number 3 or number 4 in top 5. Okay, it's also same thing. It's same industry. Here we got a banking customer. Okay, and then we got the manufacturers and so on. Okay, here we also got the airline company for use as our SBC. And the customers use SBC for example, if you use call centers or maybe the UC solutions for that. Okay. Just now we introduced some of the main features and some use customers. Okay, success story. And but here we got the lot of the details and the integration with the third-party applications. And since DINSTAR not only support our own UC product, and since I think everyone should know that our DINSTAR not only offer the UC solution or SBC, we also offer the analog gateway, digital gateway, safe phone, and so on. And also got the wireless gateway. So here we not only support our own products. They are open standard and can support SBC can support the many third-party PBX. Sometimes such as NEC, Grandstream, Vita PBX, 3CS, Sangoma Switch for ESR, Video, Panasonic, Free PBX. This is open source or Asterisk and Free Switch and so on. And here we got some user case can share with you that SBC work with the Zoom phone system, because Zoom not only provide the video conference. Okay, now I think last year or this year also offer the solution, subscribe the solution for the Zoom phone system. If you use the Zoom phone system, you have to use SBC. Okay, here we got the documentation for the guideline for the SBC with Zoom phone system. If you're interested in that, you can access our URL to see the more detail. Of course, here we got some user case or some call flow diagram. As the example, if you inbound call, sometimes outside the people make call, and after that forward to your reception or IVR, and maybe the endpoint to pick up the phone. If you go to outbound calls, you have to go to the outbound, from the call center and so on. So can make a calls and register to our PBX or system SIP server to make outgoing call here. Okay. Just now I introduced some user case. Here we will continue our demos here. And the demo you can will do that by the SBC and PBX and IP phone. So I will demonstrate the whole process. We have to use at least 3 things. Okay, the first thing is the SBC, and second one is the PBX or SIP server, and the third one is the IP phone or some endpoint. Okay, software phone, up to you. Here we simulate the calls from the external, SIP trunk, go to the SBC, the port 1 or public network. We work as a public network and forward to internal network. And after that, eventually forward to our DINSTAR UC200, which is a local network. Okay, and the last one, and the extension will pick up the phone. So it's a full call path here. Another one is, for example, your face may be removed registration. Here we got the phone B. If you want to register your DINSTAR UC200, you may be outside the network. You go to the public network and go through here. After that, you register your UC. Okay. After registration, you're able to call each other from the extension 1 to extension 2. Okay. Here is our diagram for the whole IPBS with SBC integration. Okay, I think there's a lot of the version, a lot of the variety here, but I think the main thing is the same. Here we consider, for example, here we use SBC 300. Of course, SBC must equip at least support 2 ports. One port is for public network. We see here we got a G0. Another one is G1, can work as an internal network on the end port. Okay, so you always got this. I think in cloud PBX also same thing. You have to consider choose your WAN port and LAN port. Okay, so this is the diagram. You have to fully understand the diagram. After that, we will test that based this diagram and configure our system, and also this basis diagram. Okay, please make sure you understand that. This is definitely the SBC or other SBC work like this. There's a normal that. Okay. Of course, before you set up your testing purpose, you have to set up the SBC first. Here we got the few steps you have to go through here. So you have to configure your access network. Please make sure if you configure your access network, our access network is for remove SIP endpoint to register to. Okay, if you got the SIP endpoints, you have to use this access network. Okay. And then here we got the step you can go through. You go to GUI, then click the service. Under service, you have some menu access network. After that, you add all the parameters necessary. Okay, we choose the G0 as a public network or WAN port. Okay, and we use UDP. We use a different port, and also here. And this part, I will configure the SIP trunk. And here you can access the SIP trunk for the SIP trunk connection from report party. For example, if you got the service provider or IMS provider, you have to use the SIP trunk. Okay, you create the access SIP trunk here. Here also same thing. You go to the service, then go to access SIP trunk, and here we got the still a G0 WAN port and different port already. And here you have to know, please make sure you understand this parameter. Okay, remove IP, which is your remote site, not the SIP endpoint or SIP device. This is a service provider or other SIP trunk or server IP, and with a different port. Okay. And after that, you have to configure, because since that the last slide we create the access network is controlled by for public network. Here we got, you have to forward your public network to core network. Okay, here we got the LAN port to connect your PBX, since your PBX in the internal network already. Okay, so same thing, you go to the service GUI, access the service, and click the core SIP trunk and the parameters and description here. You can see that we still use the different interface already. This is a LAN port, but the GE1, and they use different default port. And here we use the remote IP. Here is the IP is your internal IPBS IP already. Okay, so please make sure here is correct. Okay, so your remote site or your PBX port is same thing, same number here. And we set up the configuration already. After that, you have to make a call routing. Make sure your internal call, outgoing call, they will set up correctly. Then after that, your SBC will go through your PBX, or your PBX go through your SBC to outside people. Okay. Here we can see that I just name here, and you use the access network and go to the core network. Actually, it's incoming call. Okay, from the outside or WAN port to the LAN port. Okay, same thing here is opposite configuration here. Here we got the core network, and you have to use the access network for destination here. The core network, since the core network connect to our PBX already, so it's outgoing call. Okay. And here we use the IPBS for the internal IPBS testing purpose. Okay, and so you have to create the two extension to register your phone. Okay, I use the phone 1 to register, or phone A to register your PBX. So here, because I just the name, gave the name and the password, username, and so on. Here is a port for the IPBS, internal IPBS. Okay, and phone B is registered from G0. So you have to use same thing, same username, password, and use the same IP address here. But here is SBC public network. Okay, there's a public network already. Since here you register through the SBC. Okay. Sometimes I think the lot of the I think user case commonly used for the cloud-based PBX is work like this. Outside the people always register your SBC. Okay, you register to your PBX or your SIP phone to SBC port. Here, that's why it's a topology hiding. Okay, you cannot see your local network or IPBX network. You only see the IPBX SBC public network IP. Okay. After that, we can make a call. Here we can, if you want to make a call, you can, for example, I pick up the phone call from the phone 1 to phone B, and after that I make a call and then do the transcodings. Let me do the testing. Okay. Let's back our demo system. Here we got the SBC. I access already, so you can see from based on our documentation, we can see that you have to create the access network. Access network is for the remote registration, remote side the endpoint or device registration. Okay, here this is filling the interface, physical interface, and the port. I will explain the port later, and the necessary codecs or DTM and so on. After that, you you create the access SIP trunk, which is controlled by the you have to control, for example, peer-to-peer call. Outside the SIP trunk or IMS SIP trunk will come into by this interface. Okay. Here we got some configuration file also. You can see that here we got the interface, media interface, select the port 0 and the UDP, and we have used a different port here. And here we also set the remote port, because remote side is, for example, if you want to access the SIP trunk, the destination port or source port is this one. Okay, don't be confused. After that, you can check the core SIP network, which is control the the SBC forward to our internal PBX. Here we can see that we use the port 1 already, and use still same port and forward to other PBX. This is a PBX address for the internal PBX. Okay, don't be confused here. After then, you will set the call routing. Here is for incoming call, for outgoing call here. You can see here. Here we get the some configurations. If you here maybe you have to see check the source, make sure the source is outside the people, make sure outside the SIP trunk going by this way, and the destination is the call network. So you have to check the call network. After then, this is for outgoing call. You control the, for example, internal PBX, go to the outside the PBX. You go to here. Source is called SIP trunk. Other one is access. It's opposite from the incoming call. Okay. So the SBC is done already, and we also have to check our PBX. It's internal PBX, so you can see here internal PBX. And here's the zip trunk. We create the zip trunk to the connect to SBC and so. And then we also create the two zip trunk here, zip extension here. Okay, then one is for incoming call, one is outside the internal network, another is outside one. So here we got the zip registration here. We can see we registered our PBX, this one, this zip phone, and the other zip phone we register to our SBC. Okay, and after then we can we also use the one of the user UC system to simulate the zip trunk. I just create the zip trunk here. Okay, then the SBC our PBX will launch the initialize the call, go to SBC. SBC will go to the internal PBX by zip trunk. Okay, let me make a testing. I call 200. See what happens. Hello, 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 hello. Oh, it's work already. So now the core is work already. See, we can see we can from SBC. You can see here. Let me see. We can check it. System data is out, and we have to refresh again. You can see here the call is out already. Here is remove the PBX, so use the codecs to make a call. And the call zip trunk already. Also, I think we will refresh. If you refresh, you can see here. And there's user already. We registered the phone. You can see here we registered the other phone already from public. Okay. And we also can see from this concurrent call, you can see, I think the call is pick up already. So make a call forward to the 200, okay, in PBX. And after then, I think from the, here we also can see the two different PBX. So the call is set up already. That's a whole process for the SBC and call routing. After make a call, we can see that a lot of the call status and the call demos will be considered. Here we can see if we got the check from SBC, we can see the zip trunk and so on status. You can see that all the phones, all the call registered and the zip phone registered and so on. Okay. Just now I demonstrated how the course works already. So if you got any questions, please leave a message here. We will give the answer. Okay, if you don't have any questions, we will close this session. Thank you again. Thank you for joining our training today. And later, I think maybe in near future, we give you some more deeper understanding for SBC and PBS and other solutions, especially for new software solutions. Okay, thank you for joining. Please follow us, follow the Facebook, Twitter, and so on. Bye-bye.